Trent, you guys have made a lot of changes over the last several weeks. So, how would you evaluate how that's gone, and what do you guys have to do to take it to even another level the last few games?
Yeah, I think it just comes with the business, especially with coaching changes and offensive changes and, different people in the game. But, I think everybody just, played together and just understood, we're here to win and play together as a team, no matter who's in the game or who's calling plays. So I think, over the weeks, it's progressively gotten better. And, hopefully these last couple weeks we can even progress even more.
Where do you see like maybe the best opportunity to where maybe you haven't been able to maximize your capability that exists out there for you?
Yeah, I definitely think, just getting more comfortable with the game and just being out there, I definitely think, there's still a lot for me to improve. There's definitely throws that I wish I could take back. There's easy ones that I kind of rushed and, wasn't based, didn't have my base proper and, definitely want to fix some things. But, I'm super excited as an offense and just as a team. I think there's still a lot for us to do on the field, and I'm excited to see what we can do.
And then a few weeks, Trent, into obviously going with tempo. I was talking to Ben. How do you feel? Do you think the offense overall is starting to feel more comfortable in going up tempo? And how is it? How do you think that just the offense is responding to it?
Yeah, I think, when we first made the change, some people were kind of like, oh, like, can we do it? We've been huddling all this whole year, but, really offensively, we haven't changed anything, just not huddling. Everything's coming in signal-wise. And, I think a lot of us, like I said earlier, I think a lot of us are used to the up-tempo in high school and just, trying to get the ball out as fast as we can and running the most plays we can to help not only our offense but our defense as well. Sometimes they're on the field for a long time, and we got to take advantage of, making the other defense tired as well. So I think as a whole, I think we're all kind of excited about it. But, we can go up tempo, we can huddle, we can do it all. So I think it's definitely been a good mix up.
And I mean, ask Ben, even going in up tempo. I mean, obviously X running the ball, catching the ball more out of the backfield. How have you seen his overall game grown? Do you think the up tempo benefits him even more?
Yeah, I think X is a great player, and I think, this last weekend, he was able to showcase, he can also catch the ball out of the backfield. A lot of those were, a lot of check downs. UCLA did a good job of getting their depth defensively, but, X is a great player, and we have a lot of other good running backs that can catch the ball, so I think it just, we make sure to make it a point to spread the ball to them as well if, defenses allow them to get open.
Ben talked about the importance of pre-snap reads against Washington State, given that the type of looks they give. What does it feel like when you correctly diagnose a formation or a weakness pre-snap and then execute and exploit that weakness?
Yeah, I think it's just a credit to, our game plan, and Coach Thomas and Coach Iguana do a good job of breaking down, what we'll see in film and understanding what we're looking for as a quarterback and making sure we get into the right formation and the right play call. But, it's really it's a whole team effort. It's not just me or whoever's at quarterback, but just understanding what our preparation is and making sure we're locked in.
Trenton, is there any pressure that comes with sort of the knowledge that these next 3 games are sort of must-win to keep bowl eligibility?
Yes and no. I think every week is super important to us. We look at going each week 1-0, but definitely, we're kind of, at the end of the schedule. But, we're looking at Washington State and those next 2 teams. We'll look at them in the future. But right now, all our focus is on Washington State and coming away with the victory.
Trenton, what have you seen from Washington State's defense? It seems like they mix up a lot of stuff up front. They've done a really good job in pass rush. They've already exceeded their sack rate from last year. What have you seen from them, and what are sort of the things you've picked up on?
Yeah, they do a good job of, having a couple of exotic looks, something that you don't really see, sometimes from certain defenses. They have a good pass rush. Linebackers do a good job of flying around the field, and the DBs in the secondary do a good job of, knocking it down and getting some key interceptions. But, I think, we really got to focus in and stay focused on the details like we did this last week and really just make sure that we do a good job of focusing in.
It seems like they've done a really solid job in the red zone at really holding teams at bay, limiting them to field goals. Is that something you guys have picked up on, and how do you guys plan to sort of attack things in the red zone?
Yeah, they do a really good job defensively in the goal line situations in red zone. They really tighten down their defense, and the windows get smaller. So as a quarterback, you got to anticipate and understand where what kind of tendencies they run. Man, zone, pressure, stuff like that. So I think we have a good game plan going in, and we just got to make sure to be on top of it.
Hey, Trent, how has your working relationship with Glenn Thomas evolved since you've become the starter and he's relinquished play calling duties?
It's been really good. Coach Thomas has a lot of knowledge, and at practice he does a really good job of, if I miss a throw or if I threw it to this guy, he comes back to me and tells me, okay, well, this guy was popping open if you didn't like this. So, just trying to pick his brain, because he's been around the game for so long, and it's been really helpful to have a QB coach like him.
How much input do you have in in the game plan when you and Iguano and maybe Glenn Thomas are kind of scripting out some plays? How much input do you have in that process?
They usually, come up with the game plan themselves, but they'll ask me what I think about it. But I would just say, I'm pretty comfortable with whatever they put in. And, if I do see something, I'll try to mention it to them. But other than that, they do a great job of having a great game plan. And it's, my job and the offense's job to go out there and execute it.
Do you have any tricks for cold weather games to stay warm or keep your hand? Because, you want to have good grip on the ball and all that stuff.
Yeah, being from Arizona, I'm not used to the cold, but, I'm excited for it. I've played in, 7-on-7 tournaments, in the cold weather and just, having multiple layers. But, at the end of the day, it's football. So this is what you expect, and I'm excited.
Trent, Elijah Badger has been your teammate now for 3 years. What's the biggest difference in him this year that has enabled him to explode into one of the best receivers in the league?
I think, his offseason, he had a great offseason, working on his body, and he was already super athletic, but I think that's the biggest thing. I remember his freshman year, he made some spectacular catches where I'm like, if this guy can hone in and focus on, not just off the field, but on the field as well, in the weight room, everything, doing film, he's done a great job of, breaking down DBs. He's coming back to me, hey, this DB's opening up his hips this way. So, we're kind of on that same page of, even when it's a run play, he's doing a good job of, looking what the defense is running. So we're just trying to, have that, on-field connection, that we have. And, he's done a great job, not just running, but, we're watching film. He had some pancake blocks this past weekend. So, he's doing a good job and just being a great team player. And at the end of the day, he's one of the best wideouts, in the country.
Trent, what have you thought about Sean's aggressiveness, fourth down, going for it on for 2 after you guys have scored? Just your thoughts on that confidence.
Super excited, to have the head coach and, the OC, calling it, going for it on fourth down. We know we're going to have to put up big numbers, against, a lot of these offenses in the Pac-12. We put up a lot of numbers in this conference. So, at the end of the day, it's nice to know that Coach Iguano believes in us and we trust him and we trust in his calls. And, like I said, it's up to us to go out there and execute the game plan like he wants it to.
This past Saturday, obviously you guys had the second half burst, but what held back sort of the consistency throughout the first half?
Yeah, I think the first quarter, we had that big pick, which was huge by the offense. I wish we could have, capitalized and scored a touchdown. We ended up kicking a field goal. The second drive was good. And, the second quarter, there's a couple third downs, I wish we could take back, third and very manageable. And, their defense did a good job of having tight coverage. But, I think at the end of the day, it's on us to not worry about what the defense is doing, but we have to execute on our part. And, definitely that hurt us. And, the second half we came out and started to be exciting and making it a close game. But, we can't let a good team like that, separate so far ahead, early in the game.
Hey, Trenton, speaking of those third downs last Saturday, what was your opinion? Was it more so the early down scenarios and not setting yourself up for a manageable third down situation, or is it just not executing on the third downs?
I think it was a little bit of both. I took a couple sacks that, I usually do a good job, throwing the ball away. But UCLA, like I said, they did a great job of, executing, some defensive pressure that, got me off my game early in the game. But, it's a little bit of everything, protection. I got to throw the ball away. And, they play college football too. So, they're going to have some stops for us. And, at the end of the day, we just got to set ourselves up, like you said earlier, in the first and second down to make those third downs a little bit easier. And at the end of the day, it's a little bit easier, when you get a first down on first down. So, you don't even got to get to second or third down. So, but, at the end of the day, we just got to look back at our game plan and make sure we execute.